While a lot of the crypto market has kind of been spinning its wheels for the last 3 months, a few tokens have been on an absolute tear. I'm talking Zcash, Bittensor, and Synthetics. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the powerful stories that are driving their incredible performance. So what's really fueling this surge, right? It's definitely not random. Each one of these tokens has a super compelling narrative behind it, and that's what's getting everyone's attention. We're about to dive into what those stories are and why they're making traders sit up and take notice, like right now. Okay, just take a look at these numbers. Seriously, our source data is showing some absolutely staggering moves. Up top, you see Zcash, or ZEC. It just exploded by over 1,800%. And then down at the bottom, Synthetics, or SNX, surged over 330%. Look, these are not just small gains, these are massive, narrative-driven rallies. All right, let's kick things off with the biggest mover on our list, Zcash. For a while there, it felt like privacy coins were kind of on the back burner. But ZEC is staging a huge comeback. And its story, it's simple, powerful, and honestly more relevant than ever. It's all about the demand for privacy. This quote from the source material really hits the nail on the head. I mean, think about it. We live in a world with these huge debates about global surveillance and financial control. So naturally, the demand for actual privacy is just surging. Traders are looking at Zcash not just as a coin to flip, but as a real hedge, a way to protect themselves from a financial system that feels more and more centralized every day. So what we're seeing here is this perfect storm of powerful drivers. First, you've got rumors swirling about a potential Zcash ETF. That's an exchange-traded fund, which would just open the floodgates for mainstream investors to buy in. You combine that with this growing hunger for privacy, and boom, you get the perfect recipe for the kind of explosive moves we're seeing. And this just brilliantly illustrates the result. I mean, going from under $16 to over $300 in a little over 3 months is just wild. This chart really puts that 1,800% gain into perspective. It's not a curve, it's a vertical climb. Okay, let's shift gears and move to our next contender, because this one tells a completely different kind of story. We're moving away from privacy and jumping straight into the hottest sector in tech right now, artificial intelligence. Let's talk about Bittensor, ticker symbol TAO. No, Bittensor is a little more complex, but the source gives us this fantastic analogy. Just think of it as the Ethereum of AI. It's basically a decentralized network where all these different AI models can compete and work together, all on the blockchain. The key thing here is that it's building an open marketplace for machine intelligence, where no single company is in control. And this idea is clearly catching on. The source points out that the project isn't just hype, it's gaining real traction, and not just with speculators, but with actual developers who are building on the platform. We're seeing consistent trading volume, and, this is a big one, signs of institutional interest. That suggests this thing could have some serious long-term potential. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 45% gain? That might not sound as crazy as Zcash's 1,800%, but don't let that fool you. What this represents is steady, consistent growth. This isn't about a sudden, explosive pop. It's about a sustained belief in the project's core vision for a decentralized AI future. And for our third and final contender, we're pivoting again. This time, we're heading into the world of decentralized finance, or DeFi. Synthetics, SNX, is riding this new wave of excitement in a sector that, let's be honest, some people thought had cooled off. This is the story of a DeFi revival. The big idea here is the return of synthetic assets. So, what are those? Well, think of them as crypto tokens that track the price of real-world stuff. You could have a token that mirrors the price of Tesla stock, or gold, or whatever, all living on the blockchain. The source material is basically saying that speculation in this space is heating up again, and Synthetics is right at the front of the pack. So what's pushing this? Well, the protocol itself is evolving with new integrations and governance updates that have the community really excited. But the bigger picture here, the grand vision, is that traders are betting on SNX becoming a key gateway to bring real-world assets, we're talking stocks, commodities, maybe even real estate, onto the blockchain. That is a massive idea. And that vision is exactly what's fueling this impressive 330% rally. It's a crystal clear signal that traders believe in the DeFi revival story, and they see Synthetics as a major player in that trend. I mean, it went from under 60 cents to over $2.50. That's a huge move. Okay, so we've covered the why behind these massive surges. Now let's dig into how traders are actually approaching these things, all based on the source material. And just a quick heads up, this is purely to understand the different perspectives out there. This is not financial advice. So the source kind of breaks it down into two different camps. On the left, you've got your short-term momentum traders. These are the folks who are riding the waves, using tools like stop losses to lock in profits, and they're glued to the newsfeed. Then, on the right, you've got your long-term holders. They're focused on the core story. They're accumulating TAO because they believe in AI, they're sticking SNX to earn yield, or they're holding ZEC as that fundamental hedge for privacy. Two totally different playbooks. So as we wrap this up, the big takeaway here is how these powerful narratives can really drive the market. We've just looked at 3 tokens that became breakout contenders, not just because of their tech, but because they each represent a powerful, simple-to-understand story: the fight for privacy, the promise of AI, and the comeback of decentralized finance. And that brings us to a final, pretty provocative question. Looking at these 3, it seems like in the crypto market, having a powerful story might be just as crucial as the code itself. It really makes you wonder, are people investing in technology or are they investing in belief? It's definitely something to think about as you watch these markets evolve. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.